Hello everybody. Just gonna do a live cooking tonight. I'm gonna be doing a dish that I've come across this 2025, which is a very simple tofu dish that is not complete on itself. So I will start by making some rice. Just 1 cup of rice. Here, 1 cup of rice that I'm gonna wash. I don't wash all rice, but this one necessary. I don't want it to be very kind of like not lumpy at all. And I'm gonna start with the rice, just because then by the time we finish the tofu, the rice is gonna be always ready or minutes from being ready. Wash 1 time, wash another time. I should kind of get clean. I want my 3rd wash. Okay, now that I washed, I usually use the same measurement, like 1 measurement of rice or 2 measurements of water. Or basmati, which is what I'm using. And I just set here, crank my stove top to the maximum. Once it starts boiling, then I reduce it to a medium oil, and that's it for today. And now we can just start doing the tofu. Let's start the tofu like with 1 block, usually. That's all that is necessary for it. I also use 1 onion. I don't think it's optional. Maybe half an onion, minimum. 4 cloves of garlic. It's what I usually do as an aromatic together with the onion. And these are 3 pepperoncinis, which have no heat basically. Sometimes I use Thai chili, but then I would say use only 1 or half. And serrano peppers, also I usually use 1. And those are what are going to become our sauce and meat. So this is just like a dark soy, Chinese vinegar, and this is not optional. This is optional, but I also use some grenadine molasses at the end. I started by cutting the onion actually. And here I just cleaned it and left this part. This is gonna help me keep everything together while I go slicing it up. And the slicing here is kind of like just roughly like slicing it. Julian. Once you get here, usually cut this part, discard it, and then just roughly chop this into kind of small pieces. That's the way I do onions for this dish. Just repeat the process. I always like to do it with these small little pieces of onion too, because usually the smaller parts kind of not caramelize, but you understand later in the process when you mix it with the tofu, some of it is going to be soft and some of the smaller pieces are going to be a little bit more caramelized and even crunchy. Okay, let's cut it again. Got some molasses here on my finger. For a second, I imagine it was kind of something else. And because we're here already, I'm gonna use like a big, let me show you here. Go kind of like, I have this one here. I would use a pan that doesn't have this kind of grill, but in terms of, I want a lot of surface here. So, show you a little bit more. Yes, that's it. Everything. Okay. Let me just get the camera right. Okay. So, because I still have to just grate, I still have to cut the garlic and the peperoncino, but they don't need as much time in the pan. Also, that's why I started with the onions. So I'm just gonna also turn this on high here. I'm gonna use a little bit of oil right now, which is, for this pan is gonna be only like 1 tablespoon of oil. Any vegetable oil will do. But you know what? If you have sesame oil, might be a good idea. I don't. And here I'm gonna be using just regular canola oil. Yeah, I'm gonna start with 1. We're gonna, just for the sauteing the onions, while I still cook the rest. Just spread it all around. That's my way of doing it. I'm gonna spread it around here. And I'm gonna let this kind of reach a higher temperature before I add the onions. But while this does not happen, I'm gonna move the onions to a small little container here. And I'm gonna move to the garlic. Garlic, I'm gonna be using 4 cloves of garlic. Then I'm gonna slice, not mince, because I still want some kind of like, I want it to disappear, but I also don't want it to be big chunks that are not gonna cook. Careful. Your fingers. I should be using like a better knife, but kind of a process here. It's really like with chopping. Cut the center of the garlic. Some people take that part out. I don't actually care. Supposed excuses because it's supposed to give a bitter taste. I don't taste that. I kind of like the look. If I'm making garlic bread, then I usually take it out because I usually use too much garlic, and then maybe it does make a difference. And also, when the color is not the same, I always think about like, oh, maybe it's necessary. So that's how I do the garlic. So it's kind of like thick slices, but because we're gonna saute a lot, it's kind of gonna get a brown color. I think it's kind of like, oh, you couldn't see anything. Okay, maybe now, yeah, okay, that's it. So over here, I think my oil is kind of like hot enough. Yeah, totally. So now I'm not gonna add the onions to the pan. It could be better. It didn't sizzle, so yeah, wrong temperature. And kind of like this, so it gets kind of like separated. And just let it wilt here. Oh my god, it's already. Okay, I'm gonna remove my garlic here. It's gonna be just a later addition. And I'm gonna move to just chop a little bit of the pepperoncini, which I have here like pickled pepperoncini. That's like why I like it a lot. It has a nice color. As I said, it doesn't have any heat. It's just like for the kind of pickle flavor and actually, you know, the taste of pepper. Something like you would get, for example, with like a green pepper, a bell pepper, but in this case also it's kind of like a pickle flavor. Kind of roughly chop, because I also want to bite some of it later. So I just do it like some strips lengthwise, and then I'm gonna just cut it a little bit more. I don't know what's going on with this pan. It's taking forever to heat. Okay. Chopping and chopping. So what I got with it now is this kind of finely minced. I'm gonna mix it with the garlic because I want them to be added later. Chili onions. And check the rice. Okay, start boiling right now. Just gonna mix it a little bit. Just to make sure it's not on the bottom. Now I'm gonna place it on a medium. Oh, it's already on a medium? No. And let it cook. I'm gonna get the lid and place the lid. Oh, this is not the lid. Just kind of like halfway here. Like this. Yeah, the onions are taking their, this pan is taking their sweet time. I think I might have the wrong burner because nothing is moving. This was supposed to be sizzling. Supposed to. Okay, now it started. Just let it here for another minute. So, but the fun thing is that we can move on to the next part, which is we're going to use a grater. For the tofu, which I kind of like have like here. I had this tofu in my fridge for a while, and it was frozen, so that's why I kind of like had some frozen parts of it. And I'm going to be grating it like this. Just run it through the grater. And as you do this, you're going to get like this pieces of tofu like this. We're talking here about like extra firm tofu. You could do it with firm tofu too. Medium, it wouldn't work, or soft also would never. But this one is extra firm. I think is the one that I prefer the most for this dish specifically. Okay, you're gonna have to do really low. For some reason this part of the oven is too strong and this one is just taking the time. So yeah, I'm just gonna grate the tofu here. Carefully. See how like the extra firm does so much better than the firm. It is nice. I'm doing this. What the heck is going on with this oven stove? Okay, I think what's going on here is because I'm using the wrong hand. Yeah, much faster. Because the nice thing about this dish is that it takes no time to make. Like, compared to how good it is. Should be doing this in a plate, I think, because it's making such a mess. Because my tofu, this tofu was in the freezer and then I defrosted. Kind of has this like round bits here that are a little too burnt for my taste. Still gonna use it though, I think. So this is 2 kilo block of tofu that I have. I usually portion that in 4 blocks, and this would be like 1.5 block of tofu. So, but this recipe I'm making here is usually for 1 block of tofu. It's enough. Okay, created the whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but that's all that I'm losing. Because it was fresh. Sometimes some pieces like this, no problem. Okay, don't lose anything. This countertop is clean. Okay, now carefully. There's so much tofu here. Kind of like it's a lot of time. Okay, I'm taking these. I'm removing this because I'm not gonna need. And also this in scraps. Okay, now I have the tofu here. And the onions are just starting to wilt. As I said, that was a mistake to add this so early in the process, because wait until your pan is extra hot, because then this here will take no time at all. But yeah, I don't add any salt into this part of the process, because we're going to understand salt will get that at the end of the recipe. Okay, here are the onions. Let's just take okay, here are my rice. Almost there. Let me show the camera like here a little bit more. So now we have the rice over there. That's how the onion looks like. Here we have the pepperoncino and the garlic minced, 3 pepperoncinos and 4 cloves of garlic. And this is 1.5 block of tofu that we grated. And those are for later. And here we have the onions kind of like taking its sweet time. We don't want to caramelize it yet. Just want it to kind of like keep wilting. Before we add the garlic, because we don't want the garlic to burn, you know. If we leave the garlic here for as much as these onions are, you know, it would be like burning, like these little pieces of the onion that I told you I like to add. See like how the big pieces are still kind of like translucent, but the small little pieces are already caramelizing, so you get you kind of like textures. I love cooking. Why do I like cooking? Okay. While while we are waiting here, I'm actually going to go and prepare. It's going to become like the heart, the flavor of this dish. And I think that's how genius it is. And it does make a difference. It's better than the sum of the parts. And this is my own version. I'm going to link down the recipe, the original recipe that I got here on YouTube. But this is my version of it. So I changed some of the ingredients. Okay, keep stirring the onion so it doesn't burn. You want every piece, big piece should be translucent and the small ones not to be burnt, just brown. Let me get the oil here because you're gonna need that in the end. Okay, so let me adjust the camera again for the final kind of like for the sauce that we're gonna make. So here for the sauce, you're going to start just a tablespoon here, and it's soy sauce. It's kind of the main ingredient here. It can be any soy sauce. I got this one here, and it's 3 tablespoons for one recipe. As I told you, I'm doing 1.5 recipe, so that's why I'm going to add 4. But for the recipe, it's for 1 block of tofu, it's 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And then just make sure we're going to add 1, but I have 1 tablespoon of Chinese vinegar. This one, which is kind of like very like kind of malty flavor. I'm going to be using 1.5 here because I like a little bit stronger. And to this, I'm going to add, if you have gochujang flakes, you can use 1 tablespoon because it's not like super packed. I don't have it here, so what I'm using is just like salsa already. So it's gochujang already dissolved, and so that's why I'm going to be using also here 1 tablespoon of this. And now is the part that is optional. This I'm not going to add more, but I do, which is, in this part you could use half a tablespoon of maple syrup or even sugar, but because I have here, because I do a lot of Lebanese dishes and some shawarma too, I have this grenadine molasses that I also think are complex enough, so I add 1 tablespoon of grenadine molasses. But if you're using maple syrup, use only half a spoon, or if you're using sugar, also the same, you know. I'm gonna use this spoon here to kind of mix it up all together, and this is gonna be only added to the recipe at the end. But yeah, that's where the super flavor is. Mixing it up a bit here, just dissolving everything. But yeah, I'm gonna set this apart. It's almost time for us to add the tofu to the pan. So coming back here, let's see, that's how our onions are. So it's kind of like these small little parts are already kind of brown. The big ones are still white. And here you're gonna add to this the little pieces of garlic and pepperoncino. And this is the part where I usually will add more, the other 2 tablespoons of oil that we're gonna need. If I add it early, it would be just like, instead of cooking the onions, it would be frying the whole thing. Which, no problem with that, but it's not what I want for this part of the recipe. Right now, this is half a tablespoon. I'm gonna use it because the other one is over there. But yeah, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of oil to this pan. That's it. here. Now with this delicious sizzle. Oh my gosh. Here for the garlic and the peperoncino, I don't want a lot of time here in the pan. But yeah, so let's just heat the oil that we added up to also get a nice temperature. So maybe like 1 more minute here. Oops. Yeah. See that my rice is almost there. Okay. Now that the oil is also like heated, almost starting to burn here, but don't worry. We come with all the tofu and we just add all at once like this. Don't worry because it's gonna look too packed, but it's also part of why this will get at the end some chewy parts and some parts that are gonna be browned and not crunchy, but it have like a harden. So once you place it all in, you kind of like try to mix in so more parts of the tofu get mixed with the oil and the onions and everything kind of get mixed together. But it's just right now like that you wanna do this, and then you're gonna start cooking the whole thing in parts. So we're gonna be letting it sit here for like 1 to 2 minutes and then mix it together and let it stand for 2 or 3 more minutes until it's in the right consistency. Okay, I think it's mixed enough. That's one of the reasons why I like to use like a pan that has more surface, just so we can get some crunchy bites. At this part, when you just spread it all over and you know the pan is like hot enough, I would just go here and place it back onto a medium. And yeah, that's it. Here for the rice, I'm just waiting until all the water evaporates, which, you know what? Yeah, I think that's the case. So I'm gonna do here, just gonna cover. Let's give you like some seconds here. Turn it off and remove from the heat. Let's stand for some more minutes over there. And here, you really just have to let it be there to kind of get browned. So here, I don't think I gave it 1 minute yet, but I'm gonna turn it over. Yes, it hasn't started getting color. Okay. That's what I usually will be doing for the next minutes. This was supposed to be a little bit more advanced. It's just because this part of my stove that I'm using right now, it never gets as hot as the one where I have right now that stands with my phone. Because yeah, it took a while for this to heat up. But now that it's kind of hot, it's gonna not take that much time. So yeah. So you go like every 2 minutes or even less, maybe 1 minute if your stove is really, really hot. If you're using a gas stove, this would be like ready in no time at all. But this induction, or I don't know what is it. Yeah, I have started already seeing some parts browning, but a little bit more time here. I'm gonna use this to mix my, let me taste this. I'm gonna reuse it. Oh my gosh, so good. Keep mixing this. Yeah. Oh, just need to add a little bit more. Now that I realize I'm doing 1.5, right? And I didn't add the other half. I didn't make up for the other half of the gochujang. So now I'm gonna be doing it, and also for the Chinese vinaigrette. But yeah, Just follow what I instructed in the beginning, because what I said in the beginning, it was for the recipe, 1 block of tofu, which is usually what you're gonna have when you do this dish. So to recap, for 1 block of tofu, it is 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of Chinese vinegar, malt vinegar, and half a tablespoon or half a tablespoon of sugar or maple syrup, or 1 tablespoon of grenadine molasses, and 1 tablespoon of gochujang sauce. This is for bibimbap, but if you have the flakes, use the flakes. Same quantity. Okay. Then you go back here to turn it over one more time. Oh yeah, you're just turning it over so the other parts of the tofu also get to like crisp up. Because my frying pan is so shallow, there's a little bit of a mess, but there's no splattering or anything, because that 2-3 tablespoon total of oil that we use with this quantity has all been absorbed. Let's see, I never tried to do it, but do you think I could toss it? Yeah, actually it would work. Yeah, tossing. I'm kind of afraid of doing it, but I think I could. This is kind of enough to kind of turn them over. And then do it again, just 2 more minutes here. Oops, let me check the flavor. Yeah, let me see here if I can point to some of the bits that are already kind of started browning. Let me get like the part that is not browned yet. And one that is. So at the end you want a mix of like pieces that have turned brown in this color and a little other ones that are just kind of like still a little bit of white. But that's why we keep turning them over. One thing that happened here is that those onions are getting too kind of burned a little bit because it took so much time. Keep tossing, keep tossing. This is super hot. But yeah, well, I wish I had a gas stove. See how it just kind of starts getting like a mixed from the brown parts that is starting to crispy up. I really like when they are a little bit more like half and half. Half of them are crisped and half of them are still chewy. So yeah, just gonna set and I can do this so they have more contact. Oops, almost burned myself. I don't have, because today I'm just cooking like with what I have in the fridge. I don't have I would eat this with rice, right? But if I had some cucumbers, I would do a smashed cucumber salad that I would season also with the same thing, soy sauce and the Chinese vinegar and a little bit of the molasses. Just like crushed cucumbers. It's so delicious. It's also from Rainbow Plant, is the name of the channel I'm talking about. I'm gonna link at the end of the live. Okay, I'm not counting because I'm distracted talking to the camera. But when you give like 2 minutes per time, it really goes faster if you don't disturb it. Yeah, I'm regretting the choice of having some of the onions too thin. They're kind of like getting too annoying. Let me check on the other lights to see the color here. Because unfortunately I don't have blue lights and I'm kind of legally blind. Yeah, I think the camera sees it. When I'm turning, it's kind of like, kind of reveals more of the crispier parts here in the bottom. Yeah, I think it really showed here. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do one more cycle of mixing here. I'm gonna crank the heat here. I'm losing my patience with this stove. Okay, mix it again. Kind of turning it over. We are almost in that proportion that I talked about, like half of them still being just chewy and half of them still like already with the color and the crispy. Okay, so spreading it over again, pressing. Now I'm really just gonna count 2 minutes here and then move to the last part, which is adding our sauce, but you're gonna understand by the end of it. Let's see what time it is. Right now it's okay, 8:47. So I'm gonna do it to 80:47. Please double tap so he knows you are liking it. I'm gonna remove this to the fridge. Seven, 48. I can't help myself. I have to turn over every 1 minute. Why? It's not nice when you don't trust your stove. I can get close with me. Totally. Let me check the rice. Yeah, perfect. Just some more minutes. I'm gonna fluff it at the end. Okay. Oh, this smells so good with the aromatics. Yeah. It really has such a different texture. I don't expect from the tofu. but it's still fun. We still have like the soft parts. It's not all chewy and crispy. It's just like a different beast all on its own. Okay, spreading. I think it really shows how kind of crispy up it is. Let me see if I'm happy. So right now, when you see like this, I guess, you know, we could add just like some seasoning here. I have used this as, of course, I just added salt and black pepper, and then I used as a filling for a taco when I was not, I didn't have meat or chicken here because I was going through like a one of our winter days that you don't want to go out to get food. So I was using whatever I had here, and I had like a crave for a taco, and I was like, oh, whatever. I had the salsa, I have all the, you know, the fixings, but I didn't have anything. And I had this in my fridge. I was like, let's see how it tastes like. It was good. I added a little some chili and some chipotle that I had, and it was good. But right now, it's just like crispy, and it has kind of like a regular flavor, but it's still lacking the salt that we didn't add in the beginning, because we'll be using this sauce at the end. It has a lot of salt already, and both like the black vinegar and the soy, right? So here, now that it got this kind of mix of brown bits, and it's kind of like when you look at like half of it is brown, half of it is a little bit whitey, pasty, creamy. That's when I just like gonna add the salt and turn the stove off, because we just want it to kind of mix it up. So you just come with it. Let me see if it's getting here. Okay, it is. Let me just show it like here. So you just like add the sauce like this. And just turn it off the stove, and it just mix it all up. I'm gonna place it here just so we can kind of mix it. Oh my god, that's mad. And then mixing it all up with the stove top already off. So the heat here is only gonna help it heat up the sauce without over drying or burning the sugars that we just kind of introduced here in the recipe. Okay, there's a lot of heat still. I don't know if this left up there. I'm gonna add a little bit of water here. Mix it up and add, just so we don't lose any of this flavor. Okay. This part is kind of done. Just keep mixing and it will kind of dry off. But now our tofu crisped up, which wouldn't have happened if we were just using all of this in the beginning. So we just build the texture of the tofu first, and now this is the part that just comes in to kind of like blend it all together. And as you can see, the pan, it's all kind of dried out, you know. The tofu is gonna suck all this kind of flavor. And you can just let it stand here. Because I have some spring onions, but if you also have like, what are the name of those? Forgot. Because I think I'm gonna say the name of the same thing. Scallions. Scallions is the same as green onions. I don't know. So I have some frozen green onions here. I'm just gonna add, but it's completely optional. I usually don't. But yeah, you can just add here. And then the remaining heat is just gonna bring it. But you don't want to cook on that kind of like flavor. Ooh, this is not this. Just mix it up. It will wilt. The stovetop is off. This is just a residual heat off the pan. And that's it. Now I'm gonna move and fill up my rice. Here. Fill up my rice. It's just like a regular rice with a little bit of salt that I added to the water, nothing more. All kind of like, I have done better rice. This is not as fluffy as I expected it to be. Still good. And I'm gonna plate it, but I'm gonna show how I usually eat, except that I also use some vegetables most of the time. Either gonna have a vegetable stir fry, or I will have the cucumber and tomato salad to get like some acidity to it. Here, I'm gonna use this to get some rice. So, just gonna serve some rice. Just regular rice here, kind of like a small little bed. And then I come with the delicious tofu on the top, like I would do with some like nice ground beef. And here's the part where like, yeah, it's not today, but I would be doing this with like some salad. And I'm gonna be using a fork for this. I totally could be using a spoon too. Then let's check how delicious it is. Bon appetit. My gosh. Seriously. Wow. It's one of my favorite ways of eating tofu. With the jasmine rice, basmati rice. I keep saying jasmine rice because it's usually what I have the most here, except when I have long grain, if I'm in Brazil or if I'm in Toronto. But here, when I'm in Montreal, I usually use the basmati because I have a big bag of it here. Can't stop eating this. So good. Oh yeah. That's it for today. Just what it left here. I'm gonna be doing delicious. This is a meal prep for some more meals with my nice, just regular rice, and I'm gonna be doing like a very nice kind of like salad. Probably tomorrow when I'm able to buy it, because right now I'm not going out. Thanks for coming. Please follow the channel. So delicious. And that's our special tofu for tonight. Bye bye.